This documentary covers murder and sexual assault. All content is drawn directly from official interrogation footage and public court records and is presented strictly for documentary and informational purposes.
Well, I guess I just have a couple of questions for you. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be more questions, but I guess what's on my mind right now, Russ, is what made you decide to tell me this tonight?
Mostly to make my wife's life easier.
Is what you've told me tonight the truth?
Yeah.
How do you feel about what you've done?
Disappointed.
Let me ask you this. If this didn't come to the point it's at right now, if for whatever reason you didn't end up on our radar, so to speak, do you think it would have happened again?
I was hoping not, but I can't answer the question.
The man who just said those words is Colonel Russell Williams, commanding officer of Canadian Forces Base Trenton, one of the most important military air bases in Canada. He had flown dignitaries, including the Prime Minister and the Queen. He had held top-secret clearance. He was decorated, respected, and powerful. And he sat in that interrogation room on a Sunday afternoon in February 2010. Apparently as a cooperative witness helping with a missing persons case, and within hours had confessed to 2 murders, 2 sexual assaults, and hundreds of break-ins involving women's underwear. Detective Sergeant Jim Smith of the Ontario Provincial Police never raised his voice. He never accused. He methodically built a trap, and Russell Williams walked straight into it. This is that interrogation from the very first minute.
You just have a seat there, Russell.
The guy I was speaking with, whatever night that was Russ as well.
Oh, yeah.
And he took every number I had.
Yeah, now they were doing some pretty thorough interviews that night. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I was
All right.
glad to see it.
I'm just going to move your gloves here. That's a little microphone, just to make sure there's nice and clear. Way. And you know, obviously our approach to cases like this is that we don't give up on somebody being alive until we get evidence that they're not. So because of that, we're treating Jessica's case as an emergent situation, obviously. Yeah. So we're fast forwarding things that we might normally take our time with, and that's why we're here on a Sunday afternoon. Sure. So again, I appreciate it. Okay. We're going to do a pretty thorough interview today. Okay. And the reason for that is because the last thing we want is to be calling people back again and again and again, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go over a number of things, and I'm going to explain what all those are to you, okay? All right, and again, like I said, this interview is going to be very thorough, but again, I have a simple rule when I talk to people. It's I'm sure you're the same way. I treat everybody with respect. I know I ask you to do the same for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by going through what your rights are, okay? Just like everybody else, okay? Have you ever read your rights before?
No.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it on TV a whole bunch of times, but that's usually the American version, so I'll go over with you briefly, okay? Basically in Canada, as you know, I'm sure, is we all have our rights guaranteed under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, okay? Now, Russell, just to avoid any confusion, because people do get confused when they're talked to by the police, is that you're obviously not under arrest here today, okay? Anytime you feel you want to leave here, you feel free to do so. The door's not locked. Teresa will walk you down the lobby anytime you want, okay? Jessica Lloyd is one of 4 cases that we're currently investigating, okay? And essentially what's happened is over the past about 4 or 5 months, there have been 4 occurrences that, like I said, that we're looking into. 2 of those occurrences occurred in September of 2009, and very briefly, they were up in the Tweed area. They involved somebody entering 2 different women's houses in the evening hours and committing sexual acts. Okay. In November of 2009. A young lady by the name of Marie-France Como.
My people.
Yeah, was found murdered in her home in Brighton.
Yeah.
And we believe that there was a sexual component to that crime as well.
Okay.
And then most recently we have Jessica Lloyd's disappearance.
Mhm.
Okay, so essentially when you're looking at those kind of crimes, we're looking at a number of different potential criminal charges. All right,
Absolutely.
we're looking at issues all the way from the most serious one, which is first-degree murder, kidnapping, sexual assault, break and enter with intent to commit sexual assault, forcible confinement. Okay. And so what I want to make sure you understand, and this is what we've been doing with everybody we've been talking to, is that clearly when we find out who's responsible for one or all of those crimes, they could be charged with one or all of those offenses, okay, whether it's you or whether it's anybody else. Right?
Absolutely.
So the next thing we need to cover off is, well, I'll just ask you this straight out. Given the types of crimes we're investigating, do you get much chance to watch television shows, CSI, things like that?
I do watch, I prefer Law and Order, but I do watch CSI occasionally, yes.
Okay. Bottom line, Russell, that's one of the reasons we're here on a Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
The military certainly be of great assistance to us, especially in relation to Ms. Como's investigation. So that's certainly one of the things that went into our decision to give you a call at home today and see if we could deal with this today.
Okay.
So, okay. One of the challenges we have in 2010 with DNA is it's become so precise that I guess the best way to explain it is I can think back 15 years ago when I started in violent crime investigation.
Yeah.
For us to get a DNA match, the sample we had to find was, probably would have filled half of one of these cups.
Okay.
Because they destroy so much of the sample in the testing.
Okay.
Essentially, DNA has become more and more precise to the point where when you and I walked in this room earlier today, we could have sat down, talked for 30 seconds, walked out. CSI officer could have come in 3-4 days from now, did some swabs here, and he would have found your DNA and my DNA, and probably a lot of other people's DNA.
Sure.
A little bit gross to think about, but essentially, as we talk, a little bit aspirate comes out of our mouth that contains our DNA, our bloods, or our skin cells contain our DNA, and that's what I'm getting at. If you were ever in Laurie's residence, quite possibly, quite innocently, your DNA could be in that residence. Has there ever been a time you've been in there?
No.
Okay. What about the other lady down the road on?
I hadn't even heard that name, so no, I don't actually know who that was.
Okay. Have you ever? One of our investigators did is they made a call while I was talking to you there because we were trying to work through that week of the 23rd of November.
Okay.
23rd being the Monday, 24th being the Tuesday.
Okay.
What they've told us is that, and I want to make sure I get this right, is that on the 23rd, your swipe card was being used at the base. Okay.
Okay.
On Tuesday 24th, there was no use of your swipe card.
Okay.
And then on the following days, the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there was what appeared to be average activity of your swipe card in the base. Does that make sense to you?
It does. That says that I was in Ottawa on the Tuesday.
Okay. Do you remember where in Ottawa you were?
Yeah, I was in Gatineau with, as I said, meeting about the C-17.
What's happening right now is one of the most masterful interrogation techniques ever captured on tape. Detective Smith is not accusing Russell Williams of anything. He's presenting evidence, DNA capabilities, swipe card records, tire track analysis, and asking Williams to help explain them. Williams, who is extraordinarily intelligent, believes he can manage this. He answers each question with the measured confidence of a man who has spent his career commanding others. He asks for discretion, he's worried about the base, he volunteers fingerprints and blood samples, believing perhaps that his composure will be enough to walk him out of that room. But Smythe already has something Williams doesn't know about: the tire tracks left near Jessica Lloyd's home. They match the tires on Williams's truck, and the footwear impression found at her property. It matches a boot sitting in Williams's own home.
The tires that you have on your truck, right? The reason I asked you about that is there any time, I mean, you recall where you were stopped by the officers there?
Yes.
Okay. Did they explain to you what the significance
Said
of
that
the
was her
location?
house.
That was her house.
Yeah.
Okay. So you remember that location?
Yep.
Do you remember what the crossroad was, or?
I don't think there was a crossroad. It's sort of just on the south end of 37.
Okay. When you get stopped at that location, has there been a time in the recent 1 or 2 weeks that your vehicle has left that road for any reason whatsoever? Have you driven into a field with your vehicle at all, for any reason you can think of?
No.
Okay. Because I want you to rack your brain here. This is important. So,
Yeah.
is there anything you can remember doing that would have caused you to drive off the road
No.
at that section of roadway?
No. That's my early. That's the early part of the highway, and just head north. It's about 30 minutes from there to. Probably 20 from there to my house.
Okay. Would it surprise you to know that when the CSI officers were looking around her property, that they identified a set of tire tracks to the north of her property? Looks as if the vehicle left the road and drove along the north tree line of Jessica Lloyd's property. Okay.
Okay.
They took they examined those tire tracks, and they have contacts in the tire business. Obviously, tire tracks are a major source of evidence for us.
Sure.
Shortly after this investigation started, they identified those tires as the same tires on your Pathfinder.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. One of the other things that they do to try and identify the type of vehicle that may have left those tires, well, is they do two things. They talk to witnesses. Okay. There was a female police officer that actually drove by that location that evening and recalls seeing an SUV type vehicle in the field to the north of Jessica Lloyd's house, consistent with a Pathfinder. Okay. Could maybe consistent with other things, but consistent with a Pathfinder. And what they also do to try and identify the type of the vehicle is they look at what they call the wheelbase width, okay? Because different vehicles, different makes, models have wheelbase width. So they can take those two sets of tire tracks, measure the distance between them, okay, and determine what the width is, and then they can enter that into a vehicle database, and it will spit out the types of vehicles, okay? The footwear impression of the person who approached the rear of Jessica Lloyd's house on the evening of the 28th and 29th of January. Okay? All right? Now, I want you to keep in mind that this is slightly smaller, okay, in scale. Okay?
Okay.
All right? That's not to scale. The footwear is actually bigger.
Okay.
If you look here on the ruler, you'll see that 1 inch is just slightly smaller than an actual inch. Okay? But this is the way it prints off on the computer.
Yeah.
I'm going to move this over so you can see what I mean, all right? Because essentially when you're dealing with footwear impressions, we have a gentleman on the OPP who's basically world-renowned. His name is John Norman. And essentially with footwear impressions, you're in a situation where you're pretty much in the area of fingerprints, okay? And essentially what we're talking about here is, especially when you start adding in other pieces of information that support an investigative position, okay? this is a photocopy of the boot that you took off your foot
Yeah.
just a little while ago, okay? Now, I'm not an expert on footwear impressions, so I rely on the experts. Footwear impressions are very much like fingerprint comparisons, okay? You take a look at this print, and again, this is one print. This person walked through, there's several different prints to compare, so we're going to get features off of one print to compare, features off another print to compare.
Yeah.
These are identical. Okay. Your vehicle okay, really, really fast. This I need to know why.
I don't know what to say. That's,
Well, you need to explain it, because this is the other problem we're having, Russell, okay? Again, these decisions are made by me. Right now, there's a search warrant being executed at your residence in Ottawa, okay? So your wife now knows what's going on. There's a search warrant being executed at your residence in Tweed, and your vehicle's been seized, okay? You and I both know they're going to find evidence that links you to these situations. Okay. You and I both know that the unknown offender mailed May on Marie Transcomo's body. Okay. We're applying, the investigators now applying for a warrant to search your office. Russell, you know there's only one option. What other option is there?
what's the option?
Well, I don't think you want the cold-blooded psychopath option. I might be wrong. Okay, because don't get me wrong, I've met guys who actually kind of enjoyed the notoriety, got off on it, got off on having that label. Bernardo being one of them. I don't see that in you. If I saw that in you, I wouldn't be back in here talking to you, quite frankly. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you got me fooled. I don't know. This is over. And it can have a bad ending where Jessica's parents continue to wonder where her daughter's lying. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's a huge search still underway, and it'll continue. It'll continue until her body's found. Russell. What are we gonna do?
Call me Russ, please.
Okay. What are we gonna do, Russ? Is Jessica somewhere we can find her easily? Like, is this something where I can make a call and tell somebody to go to a location and they're going to find her, or is this something where we have to go and take a walk? Which direction are we heading in here? Russ, maybe this would help. Can you tell me what the issue is you're struggling with? What's the issue you're struggling with?
It's hard.
Why is it hard to believe?
It's just hard to believe.
Russ, is there anything you want from me? Is there anything you want me to explain? Is there something missing that you're struggling with that I can shed some light on for you?
I'm struggling with how upset my wife is right now.
Russ, what are you looking for?
I'm concerned that they're tearing apart my wife's brand new house.
So am I. But if nobody tells them what's there and what's not, they don't have any choice.
I want to Okay.
Okay. So where is she?
Get a map.
Is she close to where she lives? I've got maps of that general area. Which town is she near? Why don't we start there?
I'm not sure if you give me a map of that covers Calabar down to the highway and over to Tweed and south, I'll show you.
Let me see what I got here. I might have something. Is she inside, outside? Probably the biggest area I have there, Russ.
Yeah, you need more. You need a real map.
So where am I going on here to get to her?
In this block here.
Okay. So you're pointing to.
A detailed map of that area, and I'll show you where she is.
Okay. Is she close to a road?
Yep.
All right. Is it something where is she buried, or is she somewhere where if you walk there you would fairly easily see her?
It's here.
Okay. So she's south of 7, east of Tweed,
Mm-hmm.
west of 41.
Mm-hmm.
And what's this road here?
Not sure.
Neither am I. Okay. I'll be right back, okay? Do you want any water or anything?
Sure.
Okay, I'll be right back. How long has she been there for?
A little over a week.
Was it fairly quick from the time she left?
Friday night.
Friday night?
Yep.
So where was she between Thursday night and Friday night?
In Tweed.
With you?
Yep.
How long was she alive for?
Almost 24 hours, not quite.
There it is. Almost 24 hours. She was alive in his house in Tweed for almost a full day before he killed her. And he is telling Detective Smith this calmly, offering to draw a map, worried about his wife's new house being searched. The contrast between the gravity of what he is confessing to and the composure with which he delivers it is what makes this interrogation so uniquely disturbing. This is not a man who broke down. This is not a man who sobbed and said he was sorry. This is a man who, once he decided the game was over, switched into a cooperative mode as efficiently as he had commanded a military base. He offers locations. He offers details. He tells them where the memory cards are. And then he keeps going, because Detective Smith still needs to know about Marie-France Como.
3 hours, 3 and a bit.
Okay. Do you remember the conversation about leaving? Was there any... Did she say anything about that, or what was she saying to you?
She was certainly cooperative.
Okay. A cooperative can mean a number of different things. Was she excited about leaving with you? I mean, I don't want to be sarcastic, but
No, she just didn't put up too much of a fuss.
did she try and negotiate with you at all, or
No.
what did she say?
Well, I told her that I would let her go later on.
Okay. So when you take her out of your house, is she still bound, or
Yep,
how is that done?
just hands behind her back.
Okay. What about her feet? Anything there?
No, she was walking freely.
Okay. Barefoot, or
No, she had those brown suede shoes on that had been reported.
okay. So where does she sit in your truck when you get to the truck?
Front seat, passenger side,
Okay. And where do you go?
straight to Tweed.
Straight to your house in Tweed, or straight
Yeah.
to just the town?
Straight to the house.
No stops anywhere?
No. Then I got her dressed because she thought she was leaving. Got a bite to eat. Fruit. And then as we were walking out, I struck her on the back of the head.
Okay. When did you decide to do that?
Well, I was pretty sure that I wasn't going to let her leave, but you know, the idea of striking her on the head was developed in the afternoon.
And what was that strike supposed to accomplish in your mind? What was the intent of doing that?
Well, I thought I would be able to knock her out, and then I was going to strangle her.
Okay. So when you actually do strike her, what's the result?
Her skull gave way a little bit. Felt like, and there was a lot of blood, so I think that's what happened. She was immediately unconscious. And then I strangled her.
How'd you strangle her?
The same rope. Just put her on her neck
Okay.
while she was unconscious.
And how did you know she was dead?
She well, her body stopped moving.
So what did you do after that?
I bound her up to a fetal position. And cleaned up the floor.
So then what did you do?
I put her in the garage. It was very cold. And then I went into the base.
Okay. Why'd you go to the base?
Pardon me?
Why'd you go to the base?
Because I was flying early the next morning.
Okay.
There wasn't snow on the ground.
So you go in and you're in the basement. And whereabouts in the basement are you?
By the furnace.
Okay. And what are you doing? What's your sort of plan at that point?
I was waiting for her to go to bed.
Okay. And how long did that take?
Well, she didn't. Because then she came down looking for the cat.
All right. And what happens next?
Well, as I described, I subdued her. Hit her with a flashlight. But essentially, wrestled her to the ground and tied her up.
Okay. And what did you use to tie her up?
Same rope, green rope. It's in tweed.
So you tie her up. How did you tie her up after you
Into the
subdued her?
back.
Okay. And what is she wearing at that point?
She wasn't wearing anything to start with.
So when she came down to the basement, she had no clothes on?
Mm-hmm. She had some sort of a shawl over her shoulder.
Okay.
And she immediately dropped when she saw me.
Did she say anything when she saw you?
She did. She called out, "You bastard."
Okay. And then what happened?
Then I subdued her as I described.
By hitting her with that red flashlight?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Although they were more glancing blows. Cut her skin, but weren't doing much else.
Okay.
She fell over and then I subdued her. She tripped.
How did you tie her at that point? Like, I know you used the rope, but what did you tie her up like?
Just I pulled her hands behind her back and just tied her wrists together.
Okay. And then what happened after that?
Then I took her upstairs.
Did she go upstairs under her own power, or did you carry her?
No, she passed out on the stairs. And then I carried her up.
Why do you think she passed out?
I expect from the hits to her head.
So you carried her up to where?
To her bedroom, put her on the bed.
And then what happens next?
Well, as I described, I suffocated her using duct tape.
Why did you decide to do that?
Well, again, because of the pictures. As I described to you, it would have. It was going to be a pretty straight line back to Tweed.
Okay. But why did you decide to use that method versus something else?
I had thought about strangling her earlier. That's on the video.
What is?
My, well, it was a short-lived attempt because she struggled quite a bit. And then I decided that I needed to suffocate her.
And then what happens after that?
Well, she died, and I then took the duct tape off her head and put her on the bed and covered her up with duvet.
Okay. And what was your thinking behind doing that?
Nothing really.
Russell Williams confessed to everything. Both murders, both sexual assaults, hundreds of break-ins. He told Detective Smith where Jessica Lloyd's body was located and drew a map. He described in detail how he killed Marie-France Comeau, his own subordinate, a woman who served under his command. He sat in that room for hours, calm and articulate, answering every question in the same measured tone he had used his entire military career. In October 2010, he pled guilty to all charges: 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of sexual assault causing bodily harm, and 82 counts of break and enter. He was sentenced to 2 concurrent life sentences with no possibility of parole for 25 years. His rank was stripped. His military uniform was destroyed. And the most extraordinary thing about this case is not what Russell Williams did. It is how completely he hid it, and how quietly, methodically, one detective took it all apart in a single Sunday afternoon.